Volume 1 Chapter 4 Section 2. Zheng thought for a moment and asked,
And the fourth category? The first three seem to have included everything already.
Jai said with a mysterious smile.
The fourth category has the good stuff. You know, everyone will break down when they've been here long enough. So the last category is entertainment items. There's tobacco, weed, heroin. These are cheap. One reward point can be separated into 1,000 parts. A kilo of heroin only takes 5 parts of a point. How's that? God analyzed that a normal person only needs about 300 points in cell vitality and 350 points in immunization to inject heroin without constraints. Other than these, you also exchange for time to live in a normal world through this category. There are also music albums, movies, and even women.
Jai was laughing hysterically at this point. Zheng said,
I am not interested in silicon.
Jai patted Zheng's shoulder.
What are you talking about? It's real women. God can create real women. They have intelligence, they have their personality, and even memories. When you buy a woman, you can choose their face, body, age, race, every detail. You played that artificial girl game. This is much more detailed.
Zhao Yi's eyes were shining, while Lan snorted. Jai stopped laughing and said in a serious tone,
No one knows if they can live through the next movie. So I want to have a woman that I like by my side. You will know once you tried it. She's not a doll. Even though she's a life created by God, she's more realistic than a lot of women in the real world. And she really loves you. You can share the terrors you experience with her. God said once you get enough points to go back, you can keep your enhancements, all the items you exchanged, and this woman can go with you. If I can go back, he will marry her. She's the one that I will love with the rest of my life.
These words were said with sincerity and passion. In the modern age, people only cared about money and sex. Zheng and the others admired someone that can truly love someone. Lan touched her head.
Stop this topic. Gentlemen, there's a lady here. Gee, tell us about God's lobby. What will happen after a mission?
Nothing special. You will go to God's lobby after the mission. God is a sphere of light floating in the center. You can communicate with it just by thinking. There are 20 rooms to the side, though they were never all filled. You will have your own room. Only people you give permission to can enter your room. Other than this, you will have 10 days in the lobby between every mission.
Lan was going to ask something else when Jai suddenly stood up. He ran to the door and looked out through the window. The rest of them was shocked and followed behind him. But they couldn't see anything in the corridor. Jai turned around and shouted,
Red Queen, report what happened outside the room.
A little girl's voice sounded.
The lickers are attacking the outer door. It will last 40 seconds.
Farg. I knew things won't be so easy. Those lickers must have sensed our smell. The outer door couldn't block them. Good thing we hid here already.
Then Jai looked at his watch. Zheng and the others looked at their watches also. The countdown still had 17 minutes remaining. There were 3 doors and a corridor between the lickers. They couldn't fight the lickers face to face with the weapons they had. Zheng didn't want to die here, especially when there was still hope. He shouted,
Red Queen, how long can we last?
That voice didn't respond. Then Zheng pointed his gun at the computer.
I know you're programmed to prevent the spread of T-virus. In other words, you want to kill anything that has a possibility of spreading it. That includes us, right? Make your decision. Either you protect us with the defense system or you let the lickers come in here. But we will destroy your main circuit before they do. Once you lose control of the hive, how much of the virus will get to the outside world?
The girl's voice finally came back.
Can I ask, why are you still struggling? You've decided to stay here, aren't you going to sacrifice yourself?
Lan answered before Zheng could say a word.
Computers are not supposed to question humans. You have to beware of being just a computer. Understand? Also, since we are already here, we won't be able to spread the virus even if we live. Then why won't she protect us, little girl?
Understand. The lickers won't be able to penetrate the defense system.
At this time, there were loud bangs on the door at the other side of the corridor. You could see the lickers through the window and the metal door was losing its form.
Impressive power. No wonder it's worth 100 points. If I had a RPG with unlimited grenades, I could be earning points now.
Jai laughed. Zheng asked without thinking.
How much does it cost?
Of course it's going to be expensive. A normal RPG costs 2,000 points. I would rather enhance myself if I have that many. And it isn't effective in every movie.
The door had totally deformed. Then the lickers' claws ripped it apart and appeared in front of their eyes. They were several meters tall, a whole body of red muscles. They had no eyes, probably sensing targets through heat and smell. Their tongues could extend out 3 feet. Their claws were harder than steel. Zheng looked at the 2 lickers, then at his gun. He didn't think this gun could even injure it, not to mention kill it. The lickers turned to them and one started to charge, the second followed. Bang! They could feel the door tremble.
Red Queen.
Zheng and Jai yelled. At the same time a laser formed inside the corridor and moved toward the lickers. When the lickers were about to charge again, the laser moved past them, then disappeared. The lickers stopped moving, then their upper body slowly fell off. The 4 exhaled. They felt so small in front of the lickers. It would only take 1 claw to take a life. Even Jai was just a stronger normal person. He wouldn't be able to survive against these monsters. Jai sat on the ground and took out a few cigarettes. He also threw one over to Zhao Yi this time.
No, that fear and terror. I've experienced it many times already. I don't even know how I got myself through those 3 movies. Shit. This place is unbearable.
Zheng and Lan smiled bitterly. The moment the lickers charged over, they reacted worse than Jai. They could barely keep themselves standing with the shivering. Thank God the defense system saved them. Otherwise they couldn't even run away.
Keep waiting. This defense system is good enough. We could probably...
Suddenly the whole room darkened. They ran to the door and looked out. The corridor was totally black. The power had went out.
Shit. The plot. How did I forget about this? You still remember this plot?
Jai kicked at the door and started screaming. Zheng tried to recall the plot. This movie was over 10 years old already. Even though he'd seen it, he had forgotten the details. After a while, he and Lan both said,
Kaplan shut down the Red Queen.
When the main characters were locked in a laboratory and a licker was attacking the door, Kaplan turned off the Red Queen to save them. So then the 4 of them lost their defense. The only thing they had left was the last door. They gradually calmed down. They knew that any sound could catch the attention of lickers. So they kept their mouths shut. Even then their breath sounds were still so noticeable in this darkness. Time passed, then a heavy breathing sound came from the darkness, along with the abrasive sound between 2 metals. They didn't have to look to know what's outside. Zheng remembered it only takes a few minutes for the main characters to go back to the ground after the power went out. That was about the same time their mission ended. Zheng asked Lan in a low voice,
What's the time on the watch?
I don't know. Can't see in the dark. Maybe a few minutes.
Few minutes. That's how many minutes?
Zheng couldn't open his mouth again. The breathing had approached their last door. Everyone's heart clenched. Then they heard the sound of scratching on the door.
How much longer? How much time left? Hurry.
Zheng was staring at the door intensely. He held onto his gun, even though he knew this couldn't do anything against the licker. That was the only form of support he had. Bang! With a loud bang, a sharp object almost penetrated the door. Their hearts skipped a beat, then they ran to the back of the room. Even Jai was keeping his body close to the wall. The door started to deform, then finally a claw penetrated it and ripped this 10 centimeters thick metallic door apart like butter. They could see that terrifying face of a licker. Ah! Zheng and Jai started screaming and shot at the licker. They had lost their cool to the horror, and along with the darkness, none of their bullets hit the licker. The licker threw away the piece of door on his hand and charged at the four.